Hey guys, what's going on? It's Colin here again, back with another Briggs Model H video. So, I'm going to go ahead and continue on with this engine. I've decided I'm just going to keep doing this kind of style video for this. I have not put the first one up yet, so I don't know whether you guys are going to like it or not, or whether you guys are going to like it or not, but for this series, I guess too bad. Because I'm recording some of these back to back without posting the other one just yet. But hopefully you guys like it. But in this video, I want to go ahead and I'm probably just going to end up jumping around again a lot. But I'm going to start with a plan at least. I'm going to try and lap in the valves, and I'm also going to take a closer look at this piston. I'm going to measure the ring gap just for the hell of it, but I want to try and clean up this piston somewhat and see whether or not I'm going to have to end up getting a new one of those or not. And then yeah, I'm going to do that. I'll probably hone out the cylinder, lap in the valves, and we'll go from there. Maybe if I have time, I'll start taking a look into that carburetor. But first, I went ahead and took this piston and I put it through a cycle of my ultrasonic cleaner. Definitely helped clean it up a decent amount, but I'm going to start by cleaning this up a little more. I'm going to try and get these rings off of there. So let's jump right into it. I'm just going to go ahead and start by just wire brushing this thing. Maybe actually doing a little scraping off the top. Oh yeah, actually, I'm going to start by scraping this thing. There's some really heavy built up crap on here. Alright, there we go. Got that crap off of there at least. Somebody's definitely been in here before me, because there's a big scrape in this that I didn't put in. See that? Big line going down the center? That wasn't me. That was there already. Jeez. I'm going to clean that up really good, because if that's a crack, that will tell us right off the bat. We won't even have to play with the rest of it. It doesn't look like a crack, but it looks like it's been scraped really heavily there, for one reason or another. I don't see it on the underside, so that's good. That's setting the bar pretty low, though. Go ahead and pop these rings off of here. That was actually really easy to do. Usually they don't come off quite that easily.
Delicious 100% whole milk mozzarella cheese, thin and crispy crust, ripe tomatoes, and cauliflower.
Stupid commercials. Whoa! I like having the bluegrass going in the background, but it can't be that loud. You guys won't be able to hear me. I'm doing that just to add a little bit of background music while I'm just focusing in on stuff and not talking. Also because I like listening to it, so hopefully you guys like the bluegrass too. Just gotta be careful, these old rings are rather fragile. Don't want to snap them. These are coming off really easily. I don't know whether that means that they're very worn out or they're just very flexible rings. Or both. But that oil ring definitely needs to come off of there, because look at how plugged up and oily that still is. That's nasty. Yeah. That looks really ugly. I'm not gonna lie, that looks really ugly. I just don't know whether that's an issue yet. I'm gonna have to contact a friend about that. I mean, I would assume as long as they're not too terribly deep, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But I guess we'll find out. But it's definitely scored. That's for sure. It's just interesting because the bore is not really that scored. But I don't know. You don't know what's been done to these engines in the past. Just trying to scrape some of the carbon out that's in these, where these rings go. And I did the process, I rolled it on my bench and got it all dirty again. It's definitely looking better, but it's definitely still scored, especially in that area. Those three or four right there are really deep, or at least really deep compared to some of these others. But I'm gonna go ahead and run this by my friend, who's kind of an expert with these small engines, well, all small engines, and see what he says. But in the meantime, I'm just gonna go ahead and check the ring gap for the hell of it. Get this engine block over here. I always forget how heavy this thing is. Start with these compression rings. The way you check ring gap, you go ahead and stick it in the cylinder and use the piston, push it down a little ways, That way you know it's square. And that gap doesn't look too bad at all. We're gonna call that 16 thousandths. Maybe even 15. 16 just barely fits through. I don't think that's that bad, but I could be very wrong, but I don't think that's too terrible. Even if it was just a little bit above the reject size, I'm not going to worry about it. I don't care if these engines burn a little oil. Then you know they're well lubricated. Yeah, that one's about the same. Call that 16 or just a hair under. Oh, that one's definitely a bit bigger. Oh yeah, that one's pretty worn. I'm gonna have to double up feeler gauges to measure that one. That's got to be like 60 to 80 thousandths worth of gap. Just to give you guys an idea here, try and pick this up and show you guys. It's not an easy way to pick this thing up. Oh. See how big that gap is? That's not a good thing. Especially, I'll compare it to the other ones for you. Here's one of the compression rings. See how nice and small that gap is? That's what it should be. So, the oil ring is pretty well worn, but the other ones don't seem that bad. Again, I'll look up what the spec is in a little bit, but those don't seem that bad. But again, if it burns a little oil, I'm not going to be that concerned with it. But I think I'm going to go ahead and give this cylinder a quick hone here in a minute. I don't really like using these things that much. I'm always scared of just taking off too much material personally, even though that's kind of stupid. The bigger problem is my friend was saying, and this is kind of true, the only guide that these things have is the cylinder. They're not, you know, they're spring loaded, so they just force against whatever the cylinder is. So if the cylinder is worn, that could make it very much worse. So what you really want is a ball hone. Of course, I don't have one. So I'm going to do this, but I'm not going to take that much material off. There goes nothing. That might be all I give it, to be completely honest. Yeah, that's all I'm doing. I already got a nice crosshatch, so that's all I'm doing. I don't want to... I didn't take off that much material there. I just wanted to clean it up pretty much. We're not boring this thing over or anything. Doing this can also give you an idea of cylinder wear, because you'll see if it's crosshatched at the top and then there's nothing in the middle, you know that it's bowed out, or vice versa. But we got a nice crosshatch on that pretty much all the way through. So, call that good. Just to give you guys an idea of what I mean by crosshatching, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. You can see all those lines going this way. That's a good sign. Get you guys a little closer. There you go. Now you can see them. So, just a quick hone just to clean it up. Not really trying to hone it out that much. I'm just trying to clean it, like I said. I got two different... This came from Briggs & Stratton, actually, this valve lapping compound. They come with coarse and fine. Start with the coarse. Go ahead and just open this up. It's like opening a paint can. You can see this is basically like a kind of putty substance. It's a little more liquidy than putty, but it's got like metallic stuff in it. Basically what it is, it's like a liquid sandpaper. And you put some on the valve seating surface like this. You don't have to go too crazy. You seat that down in there. I'm actually going to put a little oil on that because it's a bit stiff. Make sure this spins freely. Alright, there we go. With any luck, one of these little tools will work. Basically a stick with two suction cups on it. Stick it to the top of the valve. However, mine really suck. and they don't work so well. But with any luck... Oh! We had it there for a second. I really need to get different ones. These aren't that old, they just suck. They're just cheap Chinese garbage, pretty much. We put a little oil in there. Also doesn't help that the top valve surface isn't exactly the smoothest here. There we go. Take it and you go like this, and you can listen to it. When the noise it makes changes pitch, then you know it's time to pop it up and down a little bit, and that kind of works the cutting stuff back into it. Also want to make sure you're not on the intake stroke here. That would cause some issues. Alright, so the stupid suction cup thing wasn't working for me. So what I've come up with is these valves, they have these two holes in the top, these two little dimples. That's actually for a specific tool you can get. And it has 2 points like this, and they fit in there. This is not that tool. This is like some sort of like expanding thing. But what I've found is that I can adjust this with this little screw so that it fits in there. And that the other end has a point on it. Well, not a point, like a round spot. So what I do, this is kind of janky. I know it's not exactly the best system, but it's the only thing I can come up with as of now. Go ahead and put that in the end of the drill. And that will spin that valve real nice. Go ahead and sit that in there and plug the drill in. That always helps. And we can spin this thing. Every once in a while you want to take it and work it up and down a bit to help get the valve lapping compound back down in there. It's just hard to keep this drill at one speed. We'll give it one more quick shot here. I'm going to take a look and see what it looks like. It's probably pretty good if I had to guess. See what it looks like. I think I'll grab a fresh paper towel for that. Just gotta wipe off all the lapping compound from the seating surface of the valve here. And with any luck, we'll see a nice line where that has been lapped in and is now seating well. There we go. Actually got a nice... There we go. See what I mean? Stupid camera would ever focus in on that. You can see a nice line where that was lapped in and is now seating really well. And equally so, you should be able to tell that the seat here is all cleaned up. If I wipe the crap out of there. Just make sure you do your best to wipe all this stuff out, because it's not something you really want on the inside of the engine. You know, actually, I'm wondering, speaking of stuff inside the engine, I'm wondering if this kind of wear here is from crap getting in there because it didn't have an air cleaner on it. I wonder when the last time it had an air cleaner on it was, because if it didn't and it was on a lawnmower, it'd be sucking in all sorts of crap, and that could probably cause this type of wear. But anyways, seat on this actually cleaned up real nice. Again, just take a look. Hang on, there we go. Can you see the difference between that seat and the exhaust valve seat there? Sorry, I'm not used to holding an engine block like this in front of the camera. See how nice and shiny and clean that one is versus that one's all kind of pitted and dull? That's what you're looking for. So after that, go ahead and use the fine compound here. Help just kind of polish it up a little bit and finish it off. Whoa! Easy there. The trigger on this drill is really hard to... It's hard to start it in a controlled manner and keep it at a speed, as you can probably tell. Call that good enough for this. Good enough for government work, as they say. And I can already tell that seat's nice and cleaned up. It's always a good feeling when you see that. Oh yeah. It's definitely a hell of a lot better than it was. It ran the way it was, so it will run even better like this. Look at it that way. There you go. See, that's a nice surface there. The camera will focus. There we go. It's a pretty nice looking valve surface there. And the seat looks equally as good. So, yeah, that looks good. Yeah. Take a look. See how nice that looks? And then compare it to the exhaust valve there. Hang on. There you go. Sort of. There we go. Sorry about all the movement here. Again, I'm not really used to doing this. You can compare those two and you see the big difference there is. So, I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same procedure again, just with the exhaust valve. Oh, the other thing I forgot to do. I meant to do this before, but I'm just going to wire brush the bottom of the valve here, just clean up some of the crap that's on this. There we go. Intake valve is done. Go ahead and put that back in the engine. This time, do the exhaust valve, clean it up first. Now, even before we lap this in, you could take a look, just to give you a good idea. Remember what that intake valve looked like. You can see how crappy this one looks in comparison. You can see what it's probably leaking. You can see the ring there where it was seating, but it looks all crappy and dull and not very good, and the seat looks even worse. So this definitely benefit from a nice valve job here. That phone never stops bedinging. Especially after a snowstorm like this. I get all those people that are like, oh, my snowblower crapped out. Need you to fix it. Not that I'm complaining. I'm not going to answer it right now while I'm working on engines either. Alright, go ahead and get the drill up here. We'll try and lap this sucker in. Gotta figure out a way to keep this thing from unscrewing so much between goes here.
And a half hours later.
Alright, look at that, guys. That's how it should look. Compare that to what it looked like before and you'll see why this will make a huge difference in the way it runs and how well these valves seat. This seat still looks a tad iffy though, to be completely honest. Doesn't clean up quite as much as I would have liked. I'm gonna run the fine on it. We'll see if that cleans it up at all. If not, I might have to do another round of course. Alright, see how that looks now. The other option is if the seats are really bad and the valves are really bad, you can cut seats and you can grind valves. I just don't have the tools to do either of those. So that's why I'm not doing it. But if this seat is really bad, then I might contact my friend who can grind, who has the tool. It's basically like a little thing. You put a peg in here, a post, And it's a thing that has a little handle and it's got some grinding stones that are on an angle, and it will go and grind the seat down. And then a valve grinding machine is a whole big thing that will, you know, grind on an angle. But I'd say the valve on this thing looks just fine. The seat definitely cleaned up a little more there. All right, we're good. I think it's more than good enough. These engines will run fine on like 30 psi of compression, so. And it did run the way it was, so anything's gonna be an improvement. Oh yeah, there we go. All right. Sometimes you just have to wipe the crap off to see that it's actually not bad. All right, that is more than good enough. Actually, you know what? Taking a look at it right here, it looks a tad pitted. Well, it was looking good. Right here, though, I'm gonna run the coarse stuff through it one more time. But otherwise, I think I might just run it the way it is. Honestly, if I wanted to be super proper, I'd probably grind that one. But again, I don't have the tools to do that. So I'm gonna run the coarse stuff through, and I'll be back in a minute. All right, guys. So I went ahead and lapped this in one more time. Definitely made a good difference on the valve there. That looks really good. Camera doesn't like the focus though. There we go. The seat, however, looks pretty good around until you get to this one spot here. Let's see if I can show you. Hang on. I don't know what the best way to do this is, obviously. So until you get to about there, which you guys can't see, everything looks good. But right in here, it looks kind of pitted. I don't know if it's even showing up on the camera. So, like I said a couple times, this thing ran already before I even took it apart. And I just made a big difference. So it'd probably run just fine. I just have to decide whether I want to just say screw it and just run it, or want to actually do things the proper way and borrow a valve seat cutter and cut that seat. I'll probably end up just saying screw it and just run it, but we'll see. Because this thing isn't the spaceship. It's just going to be a show engine. It's not even running a lawnmower anymore, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. But again, I just have to decide in my mind whether I want to be totally proper or not. But that, at least I'm telling you guys, that is the proper way to do it, and I know that I can do that, so that's something. But next, I'm too curious. I want to take a look at this carburetor, so let's go ahead and pull this thing apart. Alright, so I just moved you guys a little closer. I'm very curious because I've never had one of these apart, so see if we can disassemble this thing and figure out how it works. Clean it up while we're in the process. It looks like this is just the elbow here for the choke. Looks like it will slide off if that clamp is loosened. That's interesting. It's like the choke was an afterthought. And it's not like spring-loaded to return either. You just kind of can spin it all the way around. It's kind of interesting. Ooh, smell old gas already. It's expected, but it means this thing might be kind of messy on the inside. I don't know. But it looks like this is our float chamber here, and there's just 2 screws if I don't go drop the screwdriver on the floor. Gloves are too fat for this. There we go. I have a feeling it's just going to be a little brass sphere in there, or maybe a cork one. I hope it's brass, because cork and ethanol gas don't like each other. But let's see. I'm probably going to end up having to make a gasket for that. Oh yeah. No gasket left there. Oh, it's a cork one, damn it. Oh well. Huh. That's interesting. Got a little bit of residual gas. It's actually, that is the needle right there. Look at that. That just floats up. It'd be like that. Just floats up and it shuts the gas off when it gets full. I'm way too high. You guys can't see it. There we go. Just floats up like that and shuts the gas off. That's kind of cool. Really simple, but cool. That float, hopefully it still floats, because that's quite like impregnated with old gas. Definitely stinks. Looks like there's a little more to take apart here. Something off on the side here. I don't entirely know how these carburetors work. Like I said, this is the first one I've had. That looks like almost like some sort of jet, actually. Maybe that's like an air mixture jet? I don't know. And it looks like this comes off of here. And one more on this side. And I'm assuming that the float bowl will separate here, but I guess we'll see. Yep, that comes apart. That gasket actually is still there. That's convenient. I'll have to try and save that one. It's a good thing I took this apart. It looks like there's a decent amount of crap in there. But I see, this looks like an adjustment needle here. Go ahead and back this out. Not entirely sure how these carburetors work, actually. So that comes down like that, in through there. But there's a big opening here, and I see 3 other tiny little orifices here, maybe. But I don't know exactly where they go. There's even there's a little thing up here too. I'm not entirely sure how these work, but I'll do a little research and I'll probably find out. But yeah, that's our carburetor. Really not too overly bad in here either. Actually, there's one plug I forgot to take out here. Ugh. Oh, and a screw. I take everything out and I run this through the ultrasonic cleaner and clean everything up. No clue what these do. Well, that one's a drain, I'm assuming, but I have no clue what the point of this screw is. Huh. Yeah, I'm not sure. I really don't know that much about these carburetors, as I've said. But that throttle butterfly didn't come out of there, that's for sure. It's kind of interesting, though. I don't know, I find this stuff fascinating. But that's the carburetor taken apart. So, I think we're going to end this part here. Managed to lap in the valves pretty good. We have an idea of what that looks like. Cleaned up the piston, we got a ring end gap, and we took apart the carburetor. So I'd say that was pretty productive for a part 2. But anyways, like I said, I think we're going to end this one here. I'm going to do a little research and contact some people, ask them about this piston and the valve surface up there, the seat, and we'll go from there. So anyways guys, thank you all for watching. If you like what you see, hit the little like and subscribe buttons. I would appreciate that. By all means, leave a comment if you have one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.